What's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is July 10th of 2025. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears the CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage a so-called Iranian offensive on the day of July 11th of 2025. So, this particular attack will likely happen on the evening of July 10th in the United States, the date of July 11th in Israel or Iran, the Middle East region, or the morning of July 12th. So basically bookending the 11th, because depending on where you are in the world, it's a different date, but it's going to happen surrounding July 11th of 2025. So this so-called Iranian offensive is basically going to be an attack by the State of Israel, most likely targeting innocent civilians of the United States or other nations. So basically, while it's going to be touted in the media as a revenge attack by Iran, it's going to be executed on the ground by the Israeli Mossad, the Israeli Air Force, or the Israeli Navy. One need look no further than the incident of the USS Liberty, which was attacked by the Israeli Air Force and the Israeli Navy. This was a U.S. ship sailing off the Sinai Peninsula in the Mediterranean Sea back on, I believe, June 6th or June 8th of 1968, and over 30 American soldiers died at the hands of Israeli servicemen. So basically, a false flag, made-for-TV revenge attack scapegoated onto Iran is expected in this particular time period, this particular window surrounding July 11th of 2025. So really quick, before I get into the different scenarios that are expected, the numerology, of course, as all terror attacks, assassinations, and wars, they always bear the numeric signature of the CIA in Switzerland. In Geneva, Switzerland, and in this particular case, it's no different. Coincidentally, the date of 7/11 marks 19 days since the CIA executed Operation Midnight Thunder. This was United States Air Force, United States Navy bunker buster attack targeting Iranian nuclear sites in Fordo, Natanz, and some other place. So the number 19 equates to the letter S in the English alphabet, and it's an acronym for Switzerland. It's why it's a snake. Symbolically, it's a snake. Coincidentally, the date of July 11th marks exactly 28 days since the CIA staged the Israeli attack on Iran called Operation Rising Lion back on June 13th of 2025. And so 28 days is exactly 4 weeks. So here we have the 4 weeks and 19 days. This is the 419 numerology. This is found in the creation of modern Switzerland when her constitution was passed back on April 19th, 419 of 1878, which is the 88 numerology. The 2 8s, which is also found in the number of 28, 2 8s. And it also marks exactly 360 days since the CIA spawned the ongoing narrative that Iran is trying to assassinate U.S. President Donald J. Trump, when in reality, the Mossad has their crosshairs directly on the back of Donald Trump's head, and they're just waiting to pull the trigger. But because I keep highlighting the fact that Switzerland is behind Israel, the first Jewish state and the last Jewish state, that they have yet to pull the trigger, and so that brings me to my top 10 scenario. So what exactly is planned in this night of July 10th, July 11th, morning of July 12th? What is exactly planned for this? So obviously, exactly which scenario the CIA plans to execute is not known, but based off of previous attack plots and breaking news, the following top 10, in no particular order, are expected. So obviously, being that it marks 360 days since the CIA spawned this ongoing narrative that Iran is trying to assassinate President Trump, the number 360 is obviously a circle. as in crosshairs, and the number 36 is 666, and because this impending Trump assassination is designed to trigger World War III with Iran and bring about the return of Barack Hussein Obama. You can read my report entitled Obama 666, Will America's First Dictator Please Stand Up? It's on my blog, 911truther.org. So obviously, Trump assassination is numero uno. The second is an Iranian drone attack. So I just published a report for this yesterday, and this was a plot that I discovered that the CIA is planning on staging. Basically a redux of Operation Spiderweb, which was this alleged Ukrainian plot where they snuck drones into Russia in the back of trucks, and then they used these drones to attack 41 Russian military bases, or they destroyed 41 Russian planes at 5 different military bases across Russia. So the number 2 is an Iranian drone attack, which will of course be executed by the Israeli Mossad or the Israeli Navy, and then subsequently blamed on Iranian nationals or Iranian sleeper cells. So obviously these drones could target skyscrapers, tourist locations, military bases, etc. Number 3 is a 9/11 style nuclear terror attack. Since the aforementioned wars started with Iran, the CIA has repeatedly tried to execute this plot, because this is basically full-on war is going to ensue after this. So this is going to be executed by the Israeli Mossad, as was 9/11, and then they're going to fly a plane into a stadium, a skyscraper, or some other government building. And the reason why they've chosen those particular locations is beneath these particular stadiums and skyscrapers and government buildings, such as the White House and the U.S. Capitol building, is 10,000 million tons of TNT, whatever the number is. And then once the plane flies in, and the plane would also have a bomb, then this bomb would set off the big bomb underneath the ground, and then it's going to look like a nuclear attack, basically. Number 4, and this one is blinking red, is that the CIA is planning on staging a redux of the October 7th attacks. So Hamas is basically Israeli special forces, and so they plan on kidnapping one or more U.S. armed service members or American tourists abroad, and then they plan on creating a redux of the Iranian hostage crisis, and then this will lead us to war. So this is likely going to feature Israeli Mossad and Shin Bet members kidnapping innocent Americans and innocent U.S. armed service members, and then ritualistically beheading them until they can pull America into a war with Iran. Number 5 is basically the zero-day scenario. This is featured in the new movie with Robert De Niro. This is basically where the CIA sets off an escalating wave of explosives around the United States under the guise of Iranian sleeper cell-based attacks, and these are basically detonated, which is called the RAM system. It's Remote Activation Munition System. So this is basically why the CIA staged this Israeli pager attack targeting Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon. And then when Netanyahu came to the White House a few months ago, he gave Donald Trump a golden pager, because they plan on setting off a string of bombings in the United States, which will likely be CBRN in nature. That's chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear in nature. And then they'll blame Iran and claim that these were sleeper cells that were activated by Iran in the aftermath of the aforementioned attack on their nuclear facilities. Number 6 is a suicide bomber apocalypse. So basically this is the same scenario, but they'll have their minions, people that have no idea what they're doing, likely half-retarded people, carry backpacks, suitcases into public and then blow them up, and then basically claim that they were suicide bombers. This is Israeli Warfare 101. This is basically what they've been planning on doing in the United States is that they want to basically import the Gaza war into the United States and then create a civil war. And that is precisely why a Jewish man, I forget his name, I think it's Paul Rosenfeld, was arrested for a suicide bombing plot targeting the U.S. Capitol building a few years ago. And this is designed to foreshadow the fact that the CIA is planning on setting off a bunch of suicide bombers across the United States under the guise of being Black Widow attacks orchestrated by Iran and their supreme leader Khamenei. Number 7 is some sort of Israeli special forces-based storming attack that's subsequently blamed on Iranians. So basically kind of a redux of the hostage crisis in Iran. And this is likely going to feature an attack targeting the Knesset, the Israeli parliament in Tel Aviv, the White House, the U.S. Capitol building, or the United States Embassy or the Israeli Embassy in Israel, in the United States, or abroad. Those are the most likely targets. Other potential targets include soft targets such as malls, universities, shopping centers, tourist attractions, hotels, airports, etc., etc. So number 8 is an Israeli Navy attack that's masqueraded as an Iranian Navy attack. So because these ships are sailing out at sea and there's no witnesses around, these ships can basically, the Israeli Navy is basically like a mini-me of the U.S. Navy. They have all of the latest technology, all the latest weapons, and so an Israeli ship or submarine can essentially launch missiles at a given target with relative anonymity because nobody is there to say different. So they can say that it was an Iranian submarine when it was in reality an Israeli submarine, or vice versa. And because Israel is outfitted with Dolphin-class submarines of the German Navy, they have the ability to move in and out of rivers, bays, ports without being basically recognized. And so some sort of false flag USS Liberty type of attack is expected. With the recent alleged Houthi sinking of this ship in the Red Sea, this was designed to foreshadow and set the precedent because the Houthi militias are allegedly Iranian proxies being orchestrated by Iran, but in reality they're just cover for Israeli attacks in the Red Sea region and elsewhere. So what we can expect surrounding this July 11th window is that the CIA stages some sort of an attack targeting cruise ships, Navy ships of other countries, most likely the United States or Israel, tanker ships, cargo ships, possibly targeting oil-related ships. So there's hundreds, if not thousands, of oil tanker ships that are transiting in and out of the Strait of Hormuz and reloading and offloading at the oil terminals there. And so some sort of apocalyptic scene where they blow up one or more oil ships, resulting in massive infernos and some sort of a horrific environmental disaster is expected. And obviously this would trigger a spike in oil prices and likely cause some sort of an oil crisis globally. So number 9 is an Iranian attack basically executed by the Israeli Mossad or the IDF or the Shin Bet targeting tourist attractions. So it's the middle of July and thousands, if not millions, of tourists are around the Mediterranean and the Red Sea. Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt is one potential location. Greece, Turkey, Portugal, Spain, possibly Ibiza, the south of France. All these are potential terrorist locations. So basically what would happen is you'd have thousands of tourists laying out on the beach, and then Israeli special forces are basically going to appear out of nowhere, likely via these Dolphin-class submarines, and then they're going to do a surprise attack. And coincidentally, a few years ago, they staged this. It was called the Sousse attack, Sousse, I believe, and it was an ISIS-based attack targeting a beach in, I believe it was Libya, or Syria, but I believe it was Libya. And so a redux of this type of attack, some sort of massacre where you have red blood on white sand, is expected. And last but not least is some sort of Iranian nuclear ICBM related attack. So this could be targeting U.S. military bases in the region. They keep on floating this narrative that Iranian missiles can hit Europe and that can hit the United States, which is laughable, but they're nevertheless disseminating this narrative in the media. And so some sort of an Iranian offensive, as I mentioned, is expected, and this may feature one or more Iranian nuclear ICBM strikes targeting Israel, targeting U.S.-friendly countries in the region, most likely targeting U.S. military bases, which are all around Iran. We have nuclear missiles in, or nuclear stockpiles in Incirlik air station in Turkey, so they may stage an Iranian nuclear strike targeting this base and then sets off a bunch of other nuclear explosions. They may target Israeli military bases, but the most likely scenario is that they stage an attack targeting U.S. military bases, possibly in Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Israel, Egypt, Turkey, etc. So anyways, just in summation, CIA is getting ready to stage a massive Iranian attack. Obviously this impending attack on the night of July 10th, the date of July 11th, or the morning of July 12th, is specifically designed to trigger World War III. And in the event that the CIA stages a mass attack, they will likely kill Trump under the guise of a heart attack when witnessing this event, and so that they can put their man, J.D. Vance, who's the 48th president, and Israel was created in 1948, and so J.D. Vance has already been pre-selected to, after they assassinate Trump or they remove him from the equation, then J.D. Vance is going to be the president that's going to rally the troops, and he's going to take America to war on behalf of Israel against Iran. This is already written in stone. It's already going to happen. They're just waiting to knock out Trump, and as soon as they do, then J.D. Vance is going to take the helm, and then it's onward with war with Iran. So the Israeli Mossad and their people have selected J.D. Vance already. It's not an accident that his wife is Indian, Usha Vance. It's not an accident. What that means is a different story, but this president is the president that they've chosen to fight Iran, and on behalf of Israel, because Israel wants to destroy the United States, and the quickest way to do that is to bankrupt her via an endless war with Iran, and then they kill two birds with one stone. They kill the United States, and they kill their biggest competitor in the Middle East, which is Iran. And so they have selected J.D. Vance, who I believe is skull and bones. I've said this a million times. He's from Yale. This is his secret society that was that Jeb Bush, George W. Bush, Herbert Walker Bush, John Kerry. If you go on Wikipedia, you can look at all the members of Skull and Bones. And so I believe J.D. Vance is Skull and Bones. I believe as soon as he comes in, we're going to see a return to the neocon doctrine of fighting Israeli wars in the Middle East. And of course, that cannot be allowed to happen. So if the CIA stages any sort of political assassinations, Iranian drone attacks, 9/11 style nuclear terror attacks, hostage crisis, bombings, chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear events that are blamed on Iran, storming attacks, ship attacks, naval attacks, tourist attacks, or nuclear ICBM strikes. Obviously know that it was planned by CIA headquarters in Geneva and executed on the ground via their henchmen, the Israeli Mossad, the Israeli Navy, the Israeli IDF, and or Shin Bet troops. So obviously if that happens, I kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets. Peace.